A warm welcome to ABA's third virtual open day, and depending from where at the moment you are listening, a good morning or afternoon. My name is Marion Bieber. I'm the Managing Director of ABA Invest in Austria. We are really happy to see, even in these difficult times for all of us, a huge interest for the Business Location Austria, with more than 300 registered participants for our open day from 45 different countries joining today. In this 30 minutes introductory session, our aim is to give you a short overview about Austria as a really innovative ICT hub, and some tips and tricks how to enter the DACH software market, and deeper insights about artificial intelligence in Austria. I would like to thank Martin Weiss from BizExpand and Mike Hirschbrich from Update Me for joining this session. And of course, all my colleagues here at ABA for organizing this event and putting together an interesting agenda with a lot of testimonials from companies that already have chosen to come to Austria. Starting at 9:30, you can then join our individual breakout sessions in English, Chinese, Italian, or Russian. As you can see, we are really an international team here at ABA servicing our international customers. But let me now give you an introduction about the Business Location Austria. So usually when we talk to international companies and to our customers, they all have certain images about Austria in their mind. Be it the skiing in the winter times in the mountains, the New Year's concert on the 1st of January, or the famous Sacher cake, the chocolate cake. Of course, all of these images are very important for our country, and they contribute to our quality of life, which is where Austria is always ranked among the first 2 countries in the world. But Austria is much more than these images. It's a highly innovative research location. And in my short speech, I would like to give you some facts and figures that I hope that you don't know about Austria. For example, do you know that multinationals like Amazon and EHang develop autonomous drones here in Austria? Or that Austria's chip and sensor industry is a key player in the global autonomous driving field. For example, the German multinational company Infineon has based its autonomous driving sensor R&D here in Austria. You can also find Europe's largest R&D center for virtual vehicle technology here. In Graz, there are about 300 researchers working on that topic. And we also have there Europe's most diverse testing environment for autonomous cars. When we switch to the technology, Bitpanda is Europe's leading retail exchange for cryptocurrencies, also based here in Vienna. And there is a blockchain research center at the Vienna University of Economics. An example for Austria's vivid and active startup landscape here is Kaleido. This Viennese startup achieved just recently in February one of the biggest exits in Austria's startup history. The owners sold their image editing company to the global operating Australian design platform Canva. And this investment will strengthen the technology base here in Vienna again, and they will double their employee base here in Vienna. So why should an international company choose Austria for their internationalization and set up their company here? Let me give you 5 reasons for that. The first one, of course, is the market itself, and Martin will then explain a bit more about the software market. Austria is a highly attractive market. We have a high purchasing power with a GDP per capita of more than 40,000 euros. We also have a central location really in the heart of Europe, where in normal times, with a very short travel time, you can reach more than 700 million customers. And over the years, Austria has really developed as a hub between East and West. And we see also, as we also see here today at the virtual open day, a lot of interest from companies from Eastern Europe coming to Austria, but also from the US and from Western countries that set up their base here in Vienna and in Austria. Austria has also a very stable country framework with a high stability, which is getting more important in unstable times. We have nearly no strikes and a well-functioning legal system. Also the Austrian government is investing a lot in digitalization efforts, making us an e-government champion in Europe. Very important for the ICT industry, you will find qualified and motivated employees here. Regarding employee motivation, we rank number 4 worldwide, and together with a modern and flexible labor law, you will find very loyal employees here in Austria. The median employee tenure is more than 10 years. If you compare it, for example, to the US, where it's just 4 years, you will really make sure that you find your employees here. And every year we have more than 90,000 STEM graduates from our technical universities and universities of applied sciences, as well as also a dense network of higher vocational schools and also apprenticeships. In our apprenticeships, the young people really learn in the companies together in the schools. And about 2 years ago, also the apprenticeship for coding was introduced here in Austria. Yeah, Austria has innovative technologies and a competitive business environment. It's really that the research centers, the universities here, try to cooperate with the companies in getting better and researching innovative topics. According to the Bloomberg Innovation Index, Austria is among the top 10 of the most innovative economic areas in the world. And we have a quota of R&D spending of 3.19% of our GDP, which brings us to the second place here in Europe after Sweden. You will also find support here. On the one hand side, the free of charge support from our agency, ABA. We will guide you through the whole process of setting up here, establishing all the useful contexts, but also with all the public subsidies that are available, especially in the R&D field. Let me give you 2 examples for R&D. We have a quite unique system there with direct incentives, where you can apply with very innovative research projects to a federal agency. And you will receive a mixture of grants, of subsidies between cash grants and subsidized low interest rate loans. And then very important, we have the research premium, which is a cash tax grant of 14%, which means that for every 100 euro that you spend in a research project here, 14 euros will be paid back by the tax authority. Some words about the ICT sector here in Austria, which is one of the most important ones, with a contribution to the GDP of nearly 9%, 290,000 employees working there, and again, a very high R&D quota of 15 to 20%. The most important subsectors there, I already mentioned some of them: cybersecurity, drones development, software as a service provider, just to mention a few of them. And some more examples of top R&D institutions. For example, the Austrian Institute of Technology develops assistance systems and autonomous systems together with well-known manufacturers, and also is the home of the cybersecurity cluster Austria. And the JKU at Linz is home, I would say, of artificial intelligence, with Professor Hochreiter being one of the pioneers in this field. To round up, who is ABA? We are Austria's foreign direct investment promotion agency, and we offer free of charge, non-bureaucratic consulting and services through the whole process of evaluating, establishing, and setting up here in Austria, with general information, market data, first legal and fiscal advice, and establishing all the useful contacts for you here in Austria. So I would like to round up here my short introduction to Austria, and now pass on the word to Martin Weiß, who will give you an overview and some tips and tricks about the DACH software market. Martin is a lead gen nerd who follows and implements the latest alternative approaches and adapts them to enterprise B2B. Before he co-founded BizExpand in 2010, he worked for several international software and IT service companies, always in the role of a quota-carrying sales manager for the DACH region. He has a technical background. He worked first as a hardware and software developer and later as engineering manager. So I would like now to pass on to Martin. Martin, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the kind introduction, Marion. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon to Asia. Thanks for having me. I would like to, they gave me 5 minutes to say the most important thing about the Austrian ICT market. So I decided to say a little bit about what is specific to the DACH market when it comes to ICT. So first of all, I would like to say something about BizExpand, who we are and what we do. So at the end of the day, we bring matching B2B customers from Germany, Switzerland, and Austria to international software and IT services companies. We are quite long here on the market for more than 10 years. We are a small team of just 5 people, but in the meantime, we have served 63 clients to enter and to work the German-speaking market. As Marion said before, I have a technical background. I was a software engineer before. For the past 20 years, I'm in sales and I have a very structured sales approach. And that is also why we are specialized here on BizExpand with outbound lead generation. So let me tell you something about the German market specifics, what might be different. Probably you would think that the language is so important. The language is nice to have if you speak German when you sell, let's say, to German authorities or to Austrian companies, whatever. But what I've learned, the biggest difference is we are, and when I say we, I mean Austria, Germany, and Switzerland, the German-speaking market itself. We are a little bit different because we are manufacturers. We produce stuff, we build stuff. We build machines, we build cars. So in our heart, we're all engineers. Engineers are builders, and builders do measure. So what does that mean? We are bad with providing services and we are bad with buying services. So if you would like to sell anything to a German, to an Austrian, to a Swiss customer, make it easy for them. Give them something to measure. Saying we deliver high quality doesn't make us feel very good because we cannot measure quality. Give them some numbers, give them some KPIs. Let them benchmark you against somebody else. Software engineering space, for example, it's hard to measure, but there are some KPIs you could use in your advantage. Employee churn rate, for example. What's the average lifetime value of a customer? Things like that. So make it easy for them to benchmark you. That is the most important thing, what I can tell you about what is so specific about this German-speaking B2B market. There is another thing what you need to know is, if you have sales experience, for example, in US, they have relatively low and short sales cycles. When you sell to the DACH market, your sales cycle, I can promise you, they will be double as long. But on the other hand, customer loyalty is triple as you see in US. So make this part of your business plan. If you would like to enter the German-speaking market, you need to understand that it takes longer to get your first couple of clients. But if you get them, you keep them longer, especially if you're in the subscription business. As I said before, we do outbound lead generation. What means outbound? Outbound is not related to any relationship selling, referral selling, things like that. It is just about define your ideal customer profile and reach out through digital channels like LinkedIn, Xing, email. If you do that, the most important thing is you need to understand your product market fit. You have a product slash offer and you would like to sell it to a particular market segment. You have to pick your market segment very carefully. It's not just a geography. It is also what industry, what size of company, where do I add most value? And if you do this correctly, then your outbound strategy can work. Otherwise, you just need to rely on your relationships and your referrals. That's nice, but it's not scalable and it's not plannable. So the most important thing is you need to work on your product market fit. That means your value proposition for a particular market. That is exactly what we do. We help you, we take your existing value proposition, either from your domestic market or from your other export experiences. We adopt it to the German market specifics, what I said before about give them some KPI, give them some matrix, make it benchmarkable, make it measurable. So we adopt it with a go-to-market strategy and we bring leads, matching companies, matching people to those IT and software companies. Last slide, I would like to tell you what that means. Some of you are familiar with software development services companies. There are more than 7,000 software engineering companies in Central and Eastern Europe. It's hard for them to differentiate because they all want to sell to the same type of buyer persona. Let's say it's head of R&D of a software product company in Austria. They get a lot of emails here. You need to differentiate. How can you differentiate? Because at the end of the day, what you deliver is the same. You have Java engineers, you have .NET engineers, whatever it takes. Yeah? But you have to find a differentiator. They don't want to buy engineering services. They would like to change their status quo. You need to sell to them their status quo. And here is one use case. We worked for a Croatian software engineering company called Serengeti. What they have is quite similar to what everybody has. They had at the beginning when we started about 40 Java engineers. And we found out that they were specialized actually in delivering software parts and software services to legacy products, old-fashioned, long-lasting software applications. That's a differentiator. Maybe you think everybody wants to jump on let's develop new technologies for startup companies. Yeah, that's fine, but the competition is higher there. This company found a way to sell to legacy companies where a product life cycle is, let's say, 15, 20 years, and they are doing their services for legacy product vendors. And they did it well. With our help, every year they got 4 new customers, and 4 new customers in their business is around 2 million euros in addition every year for their services, just by 4 customers in a very competitive market. And that is what you can achieve with a good product market fit and with a good, let's say, value proposition. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Marty, for this very good overview. I would like now to pass on to Mike Hirschbrich, CEO of Apollo AI and Update Me. They deliver artificial intelligence for media companies. Mike lived for 14 years in the Silicon Valley and in Hong Kong, where he was CTO and co-CEO for software development companies. He holds an MA degree from JKU in Linz, as well as an MBA from Hong Kong. Regarding software development, he is an autodidact. He will give an overview of Austria's artificial intelligence landscape and its potential. Mike, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. So warm welcome to everyone. Glad that you invited me. Thank you so much for inviting me here to be on stage and talk to you. So actually, before I try to give you a quick overview about artificial intelligence in Austria, I want to give you a very honest insight in how we perceived the technology landscape here in our country, which is, I think, fascinating if you compare it to like 10 or 20 years ago. So like just a few mentions on that. So 15 years ago, when we tried to develop deep tech or a scalable web technology, we had one big issue. So no one was interested, right? So you would go look for investors, partners, developers, whatever. You had a very rough time. And I think we should be honest and talk about the development because we can be proud of what happened later on. So 15 years ago, when you talked about building scalable web technology or even thinking about artificial intelligence, people would look at you if you're crazy, right? So what do you want to do? I want to invest my money in real estate or whatever, or in building real physical machines and software maybe for office management, but there was not so much interest in core web technology and scalable technology. So we decided to go abroad, and we found a lot of people being interested in not only in Southeast Asia, but mainly then in California, in Silicon Valley. And I think that the role that we played was building technology for others. So our customers were medium and large size corporations and enterprises in Silicon Valley using and leveraging European developers. So we had our developers back here in Austria, and we developed technology for them. At the end, it was US technology that was sold on the market, that was making customers happy. But in the back end, and this is something important, were very smart developers from Europe. And this trend became bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you look now, there are huge corporations between the US and Europe where you leverage and use the talent that you have here. But let me tell you something, because they've changed a lot in the last years. And honestly, it also makes me a little bit proud what happened. So I would say that there was a major shift, a transformation, whereas the mid-Europe, Germany, but also mainly Austria, became a total different spot. Corporations, the public services became aware of the talent that they have here, and legislation and also the attitude towards talented and nerds like we are totally shifted. So the ecosystem of investors grew and doubled 10 times. The amount that was spent by public institutions was tripled almost every year. And so we had a huge motivation to come back and bring back our company and work here in ABA Austria and Vienna, and build Austrian technology for global customers. There went a lot of other initiatives in parallel. And one, because I was asked to talk a little bit about AI, was that like 2 years ago with the Austrian Council in the European Union, there was this initiative to bring AI on a more European table. And this initiative was created or put on the table by Austria. And also to see the data market in Europe as a vital ingredient for the AI landscape is very important to have AI developers in the AI companies and produce smart software. Because when you create artificial intelligence, what you do is you actually simulate human intelligence. And in order to make this work, you need high quality data. And this also requires a change, a transformation in the way you perceive data. And I can tell you that in most Austrian companies, in those that are future-oriented and open-minded to these technologies, this transformation already is at a large scale successful. They understood they have to cooperate, they have to provide their own data skills and data sets and corpuses, and work together with others in order to succeed. That's important. Next to this initiative, there were studies going on, like the one of CEV, and they said that those corporations in Austria and in Germany that work together with others, building artificial intelligence and embedding them in their working structure, working in production environment, that the revenue actually improved and increased by 25% on average. And this is huge because, many years, this was just a scientific field. And we were told that artificial intelligence is something like an assistant to others. And you can use it for your purpose, but never let AI make the decision. And I think according to the maturity, or what we name it the accuracy rate of artificial intelligence, we now are at a level where AI becomes more powerful and actually automates decisions in all possible use cases. That's a huge opportunity for reducing costs on production sites, increasing security for maintenance and production services and manufacturing enterprises, but also bringing intelligence and analysis into the media market or other service markets. We also developed certain, awards, the AI award by KPMG and other organizations, to provide the ecosystem with reflection of what's going on, what's the status, and so forth. So let me give you a few key metrics that I looked up at a site of a friend of mine, Clemens Wasner. He is like the CEO of Enlight AI, and he's creating, which I appreciate, he's creating, which is a hell of a job, a landscape of AI talents in Austria. And some few key statistics, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I said there was no market, we had like 10, 15 real players that you could name and you could see, okay, they're working in this field. Today, just in the narrow field of artificial intelligence, we have 250 strong players in the market that are doing research and development in the field of AI. And when you know the AI landscape also internationally, you understand that's a lot. So from these 250 organizations that work in the field of AI, we estimate like 100, 120 of them maybe be considered as startups or maybe scale-ups. And this trend is still going on. It's not as fast anymore like in the last years, of course, because it's like kind of a peak already. But this trend of growing the AI landscape in Austria is still going on, and it's fabulous. 50% of those startups and technology companies that work in the field of AI actually are placed in Vienna, but they're very strong hubs in the other counties as well, like ABA Austria, Styria, also Tyrol in the medical sector. So there are huge network HubSpots coming up here dealing with this technology. There is an AI marketplace that I want to mention here also, which is, so to say, aggregating all AI creators and builders and, providing transparent analysis of what they do, what they want to achieve, and whom they're seeking to work with, which is, I think, also very helpful. It's powered by a bank, AWS. But let me give you maybe a few, before I end with my short overview, a few insights on, or maybe representative AI examples, which I think stand for what we achieved in the last years here. You mentioned already the EHang partnership with FACC. So FACC is a strong company, technology-based company in ABA Austria, working with Chinese EHang building drones. I think that's a perfect success story that those engineers are very proud to work with. Grape, which is a much smaller company, but doing a great job in building the next messenger ecosystem, like meaning messengers for GDPR compliant corporations, where you say you want to have a European standard in your messaging system, and they work together with, for example, a derivative of Atlassian, which is a US Australian corporation, and trying to think, okay, how can we build something that fits better into the European framework? Because when you work with Europe, you know, you want to understand that this framework in terms of GDPR and technology is not only a burden, it's like very helpful. It gives you security, it helps you to provide safety for your customers. And this became actually a very good also pitch argument in order to bring the spotlight on the advantages of Austrian European technology corporations. Yodel.io, I also want to mention, it's also an example for a smaller company. They build very small, smart products for automated assistants. So you don't have your human assistant anymore that picks up the phone and tells you whom to talk to. Basically, they semantically understand what you want to achieve or what you're looking for, and either connect you or answer the question if they have the knowledge base behind. So I think that's a very good NLP, so language-wise AI technology. They work together with Slack. So if you know Slack, and they embedded Yodel.io into their technology, that's also a good sign, a good cooperation for those two companies. Sepp was already mentioned. So Sepp Hochreiter is more from the scientific, or he is from the scientific community in APRO, Austria Linz. And the technology that he built is actually used by Google, by Facebook, by Amazon. So he created the long short term, the LSTM technology, for which is also like a side part of the language side of AI. And the large corporations use his scientific models and algorithms in order to make their technology work, which most people don't know, but that's purely Austrian science. And he's now, he built also for, as a use case or as an example, a large partnership with Audi, the car manufacturer. And they built together a scientific HubSpot where they do research on autonomous driving. So I think that's also a great example. I just wanted to give you a few smaller ones and also larger ones. So another larger one, or a big partner, there's a partnership with a smaller, highly specialized tech AI company, is Siemens. So the image biopsy lab partners with the Siemens Healthineers, and they want to bring the MSK-AI to radiologists. So it's the medical sector, so to say. And Koala, that's the name, that's the brand name that they use there. They are automating a workflow and the analysis system for the radiographic features in their technology system. And Siemens announced that they want to intensify this partnership with this radiologist AI and provide new services for the market soon. Last but not least, maybe I can give you 2 lines on our own expertise. So Apollo AI, we're working in the field of AI for text analysis. We do abstracts and entity detection for media corporations and businesses, meaning understanding what text tells you, and making sort of like giving you insights and analysis on what's going on. And our latest product is called We Decide, which gives you a deeper analysis of, based on AI, of decision documents that you're using in rather large corporations, management fields. And we work together with 2 partners, from one of the US and from Germany, and doing science together in order to achieve the next level of semantic analysis in this field of management. So I hope, I mean, there are like dozens of other examples where you find helpful partnerships between corporations or SMEs outside working together with Austrian engineers. I hope I could give you a not too nerdy view of how I perceive the field, but I'm glad I could talk to you and present to you, and I wish you a fruitful and good day. Thank you so much.
Insights in the Austrian artificial intelligence landscape. So we are now at the end of our introductory session, and it's time for you to choose the breakout rooms where you want to participate now. I would like to give you just some house rules for the breakout rooms. So please turn off your microphone during the presentations and whenever you are not actively engaging in the conversations. We would really like to have now interactive breakout sessions, so please do ask questions either directly via video, audio, or through the chat. And I would also like to remind you that you can still set up one-to-one meetings through the B2Match platform where you're also registered. And if today you don't have any time, please just get in contact with us. We will be happy to set up other meetings at times that are more convenient for you. So what's next? If you have registered already via the platform, you should now be automatically transferred to the session you have signed up for. You can still switch the session whenever you like via the breakout rooms button on the bottom of the screen. For our session in Chinese, please simply stay here and do nothing. If you have not registered via the B2Match platform, please choose now the session you want to join via the button Breakout Rooms on the bottom of the screen. If you cannot see the Breakout Rooms button, please try updating soon. You can also contact us via the chat and we will then transfer you to the right session manually. So enjoy your interesting breakout sessions, and I hope to see you soon again here in our office in front of the Vienna Opera. Have a nice day.